So I want, leading up to that point, I want you to share with our viewers and listeners, etc. Leading up to that journey.
Well, I have to agree with you. It was indeed very public shaming, something that I have not spoken about publicly since that time, which was more than 3 years ago.
Yeah, 2018.
Um, yeah, and it was something that was unforeseen. It was unforeseen. The committee were reviewing the accounts for, that was 2018. They were reviewing the accounts for a period like 2008 to 2015 or something like that. And in there was an item which, well, not in there, but an item came to the fore where it was stated that I had offered or given a contract to a relative. The committee led a series of well, the questions were leading questions where you could have only answered yes or no to. Any deviation, was challenged. And at the end of it, for the final answer, if I knew someone who worked with the organization on a particular project, and I said yes, they said, well, then you lied because they said you never gave anyone a contract. The issue is that I never gave anyone a contract, and the money that you're talking about is $3,500 once a year to train 40 youths in etiquette training, because the youth at that time, when you speak to them about things like knife and fork, most of them would have said that they could have only used a spoke. They were familiar with a spoke. So it was a program that was aimed at developing youth into leaders. The issue at the time was one which I did not speak out about, because I had two children who were doing their finals at university, and the public, the media, and so would have been upsetting. So I often thought, it's better that I say nothing and allow them to carry on with their lives, and then I would pick up later. But what I recognized coming out of that was really that happened as a result of my disobedience. And it was my disobedience in a relationship I had, a relational issue I had with God. God had told me what my purpose was, what I was designed for, and what I was supposed to do. And part of it was working for that organization. He said that I should go as far as I should go, and then turn back and tell the youth how I got there, that God had put me there. And it's something that I used to do often. There was a series of 3-year contracts, and every year when the contracts was up, I would say, God, is it time to move? Because the agreement was, after I've completed this task, the things that I am passionate about, the things that I want to do with my life, he would grant me permission to do that. And for 4 years, for 12 years, sorry, every 3 years, I'd say, now is the time, and he would say no. At the end of the fourth year, he said, time to go. Now is the time. And I told the board that I was leaving, and so and so. And, they told me, no, don't leave, and da 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 da. And they decided to give me another 3-year contract. I'd only asked for 6 months for the transition to take place of a new CEO. Nevertheless, to say 3 months after having this new contract, I was terminated, as they said, for lack of faith or lack of trust or something like that.
Actually,
Um,
Nigel,
yeah.
the newspaper headline read, "What Lion CEO fired."
Yes. Right.
Horrible.
And yeah. And so the issue was, as I said, was a series of leading questions that could have only had one conclusion. Um, but my issue, and not my issue, but my thing was that I had disobeyed when God told me to leave. And when God tells you to
Oh yeah.
go, or to do something, you ought to obey. The interesting thing about it is that the way in which it happened, it closed a number of doors that would have been opened if I would have just left, because I would have left, and if I'm truthful with myself, I would have left, but still be very concerned with regards to how do I finance my children's educational future, how do I pay my mortgage, and that sort of thing. And I know that there were several other agencies who were interested in my working for them. So I would have left there and I would have gone and continued to do the same thing I was doing before, which wasn't the plan that God and I had. So the public shaming closed all the doors where God put me in a very humbling position
Yeah.
where I had to rebuild, where I had to redevelop not only relationship with Him, but also develop that faith and trust. Because my staying on past my time really was a slip in faith, not thinking that God uh, is able to sustain me without the comfortable position I was in.